Details are horrific. There's no doubt about that. And I can't conceive of how something like that could even happen.
People always say that there is a possibility in our lives for anything to happen. But when some events come into the light, you would want to set the limits. This story is one of those gruesome, gut-wrenching stories. A 36-year-old autistic woman with social anxiety was left to rot on a couch for at least 12 years. The young woman was found dead while fused to a sofa with her own dump. Many could not comprehend how her parents could possibly let her live in the state that she was found, partially submerged in a couch hole covered in urine, feces, maggots, and insect bites. This is the story of Lacey Ellen Fletcher. Before we get into the case, we would like to give a trigger warning to all of you. This story is not for the faint of heart, and you should proceed with caution. Louisiana, apart from the glamour and beauty which it has produced, there is also one side to the city which is dark and shady, and affects the lives of common people the most. There were 29,704 violent crimes in Louisiana in 2020, or 639 for every 100,000 people, the fifth highest rate of any state in the country. The overall violent crime rate climbed by 16.4% in Louisiana in 2020, more than 3 times the national increase. Homicides are especially prevalent in Louisiana. The homicide of Lacey Ellen Fletcher would have gotten lost among this worrying and unfortunate statistic, but we are here to bring this story into acknowledgement, because this story is not one of those usually occurring homicides. Sheila and Clay Fletcher, the parents of Lacey Fletcher, lived with their daughter in a 2-story ranch-style home in a small southern American town. Sheila and Clay have been described as respectable pillars of their community in the local media. The mom worked in local legislation on the Slaughters Board of Aldermen for around 4 years before she quit on January 24, 2022. Sheila worked in multiple roles in local government and local law enforcement. Sheila was also an assistant to the city prosecutor in the nearby city of Zachary. Before this, she worked as a police and court clerk in the neighboring city of Baker. Her husband, Clay, was an officer of the nonprofit Baton Rouge Civil War Roundtable, an organization that claimed to provide a nonpartisan atmosphere to educate the foster and an appreciation for the sacrifices made by all during the war. Their only daughter, Lacey Ellen Fletcher, about whom the neighbors didn't have any idea that she even existed, was diagnosed with severe autism and social anxiety. It was previously internationally reported that she had locked-in syndrome, a phenomenon that is said to leave the person unable to move their muscles. But East Feliciana Parish Coroner Dr. Yule Bickham III later revealed that this diagnosis of the locked-in syndrome was inappropriate. The last time Lacey saw a doctor of any kind was when she was 16 years old, just after her first year of high school, when the family decided she should be homeschooled. Ironically, Lacey's mom Sheila worked with all the authorities who would have been able to help the Fletchers find care for Lacey. But soon, Lacey was gonna find redemption from all this pain in the most tragic way. On January 3rd, 2022, police were called to Lacey's Slaughter, Louisiana home. Her parents called 911 to report that their daughter wasn't breathing. Cops came across a strong stench when they entered the house. They found Lacey sitting in a hole worn into the couch's upholstery in foam padding. She weighed only 96 pounds. The scene was sickening. Her body was found surrounded by feces and urine in a couch crater because her remains had supposedly worn through the upholstery. She had severe ulcers on her underside, bacterial infections, and was positive for COVID. Additionally, Lacey had fecal matter shoved into her face, chest, and abdomen. Her hygiene had been allowed to deteriorate so much that her hair was matted, knotted, and filled with maggots. The question on everybody's mind was, how could there be caretakers living in the house with her and have her get in a condition like that? It was cruelty in the worst form, and the authorities couldn't just let it sit. District Attorney Sam DiAquila said that the Fletchers had no explanation when officers arrived at their home after Sheila called 911. When questioned, Sheila and Clay Fletcher stated that their daughter refused to leave the living room couch. They claimed to have brought Lacey her meals, adding that she would urinate and defecate in towels or on the floor, as she was afraid to leave the couch. The Fletchers also claimed that Lacey had not seen a doctor in 10 years because she had not been ill. The couple claimed that Lacey was of sound mind to make her own type of decisions. The parents said that the girl had developed some degree of Asperger's syndrome after 9th grade when she started being homeschooled. Sheila Fletcher also said that she routinely cleaned her daughter's sores and that Lacey Fletcher never complained about them. The details of this case were horrific, and nobody could conceive of how something like that can even happen. The DA said that the evidence at the Fletcher house suggested that the deceased woman had suffered prolonged neglect, likely for years before she died. On a murder, you have to have intent. Did they want to kill her? I want to say yeah, they wanted to kill her, said attorney DiAquila in his statement, alleging Lacey's parents to be responsible for her death. DiAquila still suggested that Lacey had not been possibly moved from that position for years. He said it was completely unknown when she had last been moved. He believed that the caretakers just let her sit on the couch, and she just urinated and used the bathroom on the couch. Dr. Bickham III said that the woman had last seen a doctor some 2 decades ago. I've seen some horrible things in my life, but nothing like this, said Dr. Bickham. Bickham also told Baton Rouge that after he witnessed Lacey's medical case, he couldn't eat for a week, and he cried for a week straight. DiAquila told the local outlet that he now planned to convene grand jury proceedings soon, and asked for charges of murder in the 2nd degree to be leveled against Sheila Fletcher and Clay Fletcher. It was the smell of rot. We don't even treat animals like this, said attorney DiAquila. Authorities insisted that this was unlike a normal murder, and the parents are not believed to likely flee the jurisdiction. So the law enforcement awaited the results of the grand jury investigation. A new grand jury is selected every 6 months in East Feliciana Parish. The courts believe that it should be a new jury to decide on the Fletchers' charges, and on their first day, the fresh group of storekeepers and farmers decided on 2nd-degree manslaughter. Based on the evidence, the jury chose the charge over negligent homicide, which is up to 5 years in prison, and manslaughter, which is up to 40 years in prison. The couple did not attend the courthouse in Clinton, Louisiana, when the jury decided to charge them with the highest charge that could have produced for this type of crime. They were not seen in public since the news broke out about their daughter's death in March. Neighbors in the community claimed that they didn't even know about the existence of their daughter. The Fletchers' lawyer, Stephen Moore, said in a statement that the couple wanted to relive the pain of losing a child through the media. They have been through a lot of heartaches over the years. Anyone who had lost a child knows what it's like, said Stephen. Arrest warrants were issued for the Fletchers immediately following the grand jury judgment. Dr. Ewell Bickham said that the photographs of Lacey's condition were so horrible and frightening that medics were on standby for the jury members. The horrible images of the scenario left everyone in the room dumbfounded. On Monday, April 2nd, 2022, 65-year-old Clay Fletcher and 64-year-old Sheila Fletcher were picked up by sheriff's officers and hauled off to East Feliciana Parish Jail in Clinton, Louisiana. We picked them up, arrested them, brought them to the jail, and we're in the process of booking them in. Their bond is not my purview. The judge sets the bond and she will work with their attorney for that. I'd say the bond will be really high, said Sheriff Jeffrey Travis, who arrested the couple. The parents of Lacey Ellen Fletcher, who died fused to a sofa in her own feces, were now finally arrested and face life in prison under second-degree murder charges. If someone is not capable of providing care for their own children, they should take constructive action and get help. If you are a caregiver of someone, you need to pay attention. It is important for neighbors and the community to look out for each other. Mysterious 7 hopes that this never happens again. No specially abled person should be neglected and left on their own. What do you guys think? Could Lacey's parents have saved her life and made her a better human if they would not have neglected her, paid attention to her, and maybe taken the right actions? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit that like button, share this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell icon to never miss an update on more such unusual true crimes.